Hey guys, welcome back to another Forbidden Rite video, and possibly the last one for a little while. Just want to let you know there's no gameplay in this video. It's just going over a few different variants of the build that you can go for after Spec 3 if you're that far. And also letting you know that Spec 3 you can still min-max a lot. There's a lot of room to grow still. It was already able to do T17s and the Feared pretty easily. I didn't try any Uber bosses, but I'm assuming it could do at least one of those. But yeah, so for this video, we have 3 new specs. Tankier Spec 3, power charge stacking Occultist, and a cast on crit. An overview for all of them. Spec 3 Tankier is very similar to Spec 3. You're just you're losing like half, not quite half the damage, but 15 mil DPS Spec 3 Tankier versus 25 mil on Spec 3. So you're losing a chunk of DPS, but you're gaining a lot of max hit. Max reses are 89, and it's pretty easy to hit 90. And max hits go up by like double. So if you're worried about tankiness, Spec 3 Tanky would be a good choice. For the jewels, there is these jewels are probably expensive. The only necessary mod on here is the max lightning res. And then the next most important is probably the energy shield, but poison chance on hit is pretty important too. It's just a balancing thing. You can get poison chance on your gloves, and there's other ways to get poison chance as well. So when you're looking to buy these things, keep that in mind. And also there's a few tricks you can do with these jewels. Say you find one with 1 max cold res instead of lightning res, you can harvest craft to change cold into lightning, and it re-rolls the max res value, so you have a chance of getting the max roll. But yeah, if you need more clarification on trying to find these jewels for cheap, let me know and I can post a link in the chat and explain it better. But yeah, it's pretty much just these jewels and the melding that is the big differences. And then yeah, you could run Purity of Lightning or Purity of Fire, Purity of Ice, depending on which max res you're stacking, and drop Malevolence for an easier max res without getting a bunch of those jewels. But yeah, there's not much difference there between Spec 3 and... I call them both Spec 3 because they're so similar. But yeah, to move on, go to the Occultist power charge stacking setup. This one is a lot different from the other specs. It's on hit. It's not damage over time anymore. And going Occultist, you're going to need to do a lot of respecking for the getting the new points. Ascendancy points, and then the tree requires not too much respecking, but a little bit. Getting new clusters. These clusters might be hard to get. I'm not sure on the price. They're spell block clusters, which synergizes with Vile Bastion. So they may or may not be really expensive. I'm not sure. I didn't check the price, but these are like the best clusters you can get for the build. And yeah, I guess other differences on the tree. Obviously, stacking power charges and no poison chance and stacking spell block. I guess that's about all that's the differences. It is relatively similar pathing wise, so that part won't take too many points to respec, but that's probably not going to matter much because if you're going for this build, there's some expensive pieces in here. Also, there's a lot of cheap pieces, and you might be able to get away with like buying cheaper stuff. Like you might be able to get away with not using these clusters if you wanted to, and losing some spell block. So there is ways to cheapen this up. One of the coolest parts about this tech is this timeless jewel right here. You actually have 3 options. I put all 3 into the POB. They're pretty cheap right now. There's a bunch of them too on the market. All 3 numbers are in here if you look for them. And all 3 of these numbers have 3 nodes of 4% increased energy shield per power charge. Each one of these nodes is giving us 1400 ES. So it's really powerful for this Forbidden Rite build. Synergizes super well with alternate Forbidden Rite. We get damage and tankiness, a ton of it from that. So yeah, a lot of power for cheap. And if they do end up getting bought out, you can go for the 2 passive ones instead. And there's so many options for the 2 passive ones. You can probably find them in the best spots available. But yeah, another really expensive part of this build is the Pain Attunement and Possible Escape. There's really not many of these. So if you can't find one, you're just gonna have to lose like 1, 2, up to like 8 or so. 5 to 8 passive points in reaching these nodes. So it's not a mandatory piece, but it does save you a lot of passive points. And if you need help on deciding which ones to lose on the tree, if you can't get the Impossible Escape, let me know. I'll help you with that. I guess I can go over the jewels. We'll just go look at them in here since it's kind of related to the passive tree. Oops. Okay. That got messed up. One sec. The jewels got messed up a bit, but I fixed it. So I went over the large clusters. Double crit molt and energy shield. Can just go for 1 energy shield and 1 crit molt. Those should be really cheap. The grand spectrums are optional always, but they're pretty efficient here. We get 3 frenzy charges, some Ela resistance, and crit chance. If you can't get those, just find jewels that give you enough resistance, and then energy shield and crit molt are always good. But yeah, a little bit of stats, and that's about all for the differences. A lot of these jewels are similar to Spec 3. So yeah, that's the tree and the jewels. Go over the items next. Void Battery, simple enough, cheap. Malachite Shield, cheap. Energy Shield, this helmet might be troublesome to get. You really just want a shield or a helmet with 1 max power charge and energy shield, like 200 plus energy shield. You don't need it to be a warlord item. You can get a corrupted helmet as well with power charge implicit. So keep that in mind when buying for that slot, because this one might be really expensive, something that looks like that. No. Chestplate is just high ES. It's pretty much the same as the Spec 3 chestplate. High ES, resistances, and implicit physical taken as chaos. And then the gloves, yeah, very similar. The implicits are different. We want unnerve enemies for 4 seconds on hit. Since we're not damage over time anymore, that's a pretty big damage boost. But yeah, Rallycash, maximum number of power charges. Make sure when you're buying Rallycash, there's 3 different types. Make sure you're buying the right one. We need the power charge version. Amulet's about the same. Uses Tranquility as the anoint. Rings are the same. And using Graven Secret for the belt. Should be cheap. If you can get one corrupted with elemental resistance, that's really good. But yeah, there's the items. For flasks, it's flexible. Roomies is nice for a little more block. But yeah, just pop in whatever flasks you want to use. If you need help with flasks, though, I can help with that too. But yeah. For skills, Frost Shield, there's actually some open skill slots, so you can add some. We got rid of our golems. Auras here. Zealotry for Malevolence. The links for Forbidden Rite is pretty different. So look at these closely if you're coming from Spec 3. And the Blade Fall setup for our Soul Eater stacks, Soul Eater ring, is the same. I do have a video on that, so check that out if you need help with setting that up. But yeah, this setup has a lot of DPS, and it's pretty tanky. Yeah, I had to fix something, but DPS 35 mil. This is probably underestimated. And max hits are better than Spec 3. It is more expensive, but yeah, and it's on hit versus damage over time, so the damage should feel snappier. But again, it's more expensive. So yeah, there's that one. And the final variant is Cast on Crit. This one is very similar to the one I just showed, but it's cast on crit, so we're using a dagger. Mandatory mods on here are attack speed, crit chance, and the hits can't be evaded. Crit multi is optional. It's a bonus. I'm actually not sure on the best way to get this, but if you need help, I'll try and figure it out for you. The only other difference is the rings. All the other items are the same. So we're using Precursor's Emblem with increased energy shield per power charge and crit molt. This is really flexible though. You can use a Chevrons in the left slot, or you can find a better Precursor. The best stat on the Precursor is +1 to power charge. The second best stat is 3% increased energy shield per power charge, and that you can get that up to like 12. But I don't think any of those exist on the market right now. And then for the other, yeah, those are all the differences for the items. For the passive tree, down here looks a little different. We're not using Coiling Whisper anymore, so we don't have the path for this reduced duration. And therefore we get a little more passive points up here. Grab this chaos damage. I didn't talk about this, I don't think, too much in the other specs, but there are a couple Runegrafts you can use. I think I put them in here. There's a 40% increased global defense as one, and then auras benefit enemies. We can actually use both of those. This Chaos Mastery is enabled by that second one I mentioned. And the first one you can just slap anywhere, like right here or something. It's 10% reduced attributes and 40% global defenses. So that's not showing up on the POB, but those are both really good. They might be expensive though, so keep that in mind. Other tree differences, I think otherwise it's about the same as the last one. On to the skills. Using Flesh and Stone instead of Arctic Armor, because we're not really going to be standing in place much with Cast on Crit. That's the main reason for going Cast on Crit though, is you're going to be moving around while you're dealing damage. So it'll feel better for map clear probably, And for bossing, it's debatable because you do have to be like right on top of the boss. Something to feel out. But the links look different. Awaken Cast on Strike is a big damage increase, but it's optional, so don't need that. Same with Awaken Void. It's just more damage. I would go for Awaken Cast on Crit though, before any other Awaken gems, even if they're cheaper, unless it's like 10 divs or something, because it is a big damage boost. Assassin's Mark, Mark on Hit. This one's pretty important. And right now I have Withering Step in here. And this node, I think that's enough for 15 Wither stacks. If it's not, think about using Balance of Terror. But for now, I'll just leave it like that. Yeah, so that's the 3 new variants. If you have questions on them, if you need other explanations, just let me know. Check out the notes section. I try to add to this as people have questions. So yeah, that's gonna be all for this video. I plan on actually doing a Winter Orb build next, because I wanted a League Start Winter Orb, but I didn't want a weird League Start, so I started Cold Damage over time instead, and then I saw the tech for this amulet, and I really wanted to try Forbidden Rite again, so I did this first, but now I'll move on to Winter's Orb, and hopefully get that one in a good spot. So yeah, look forward to that video. Thanks for watching, and talk to you guys next time.